Hi, Paul from Strung Too Tight.
Hello, Stephen here.
And we are off to do another little podcast today. Okay, so I've had quite a few people. When I say quite a few people, I mean more than one. Probably less than 5. No, less than 5.
Is it a couple or is it a few? Or several?
I'm gonna say it was more than 1 or less than 5 that have said to me, please, could you do more information about rackets and things like, because obviously everyone knows I'm a geek when it comes to rackets. I'm a geek, but I'm proud of it. I think my wife hates it because she just has like millions of rackets in the spare room. She's behind the camera now going. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about grips and handles of rackets.
I'm off.
Okay.
Can I grab this racket?
You can grab this racket. Okay. So, one of the things that really gets me wound up, Steve, is that people want to go out and they want to go and get rackets, etc. And they go to the stores, and especially here in the region where the market is not that great. It's not like in the States, not even like in the UK.
Oh, and the knowledge.
And don't even get me started on that one. But they'll just go and they'll buy. The kid will say, I want a down racket. I want to play with the down racket.
Although it's quite good, the junior one.
The junior one's awesome. But they'll get that racket and the grip. I mean, suffice to say, the racket's inappropriate, but the grip size and the options of grip size is just totally, completely wrong. We have a grip sizing system which is done in inches. Okay. Look at him. He's thinking, oh, this is going to be fun because he doesn't want to have this segment at all.
No, I don't mind. This is interesting and it's actually important. So
very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so the theory is that not the theory. The way that the grip size is measured is around the circumference of the grip. Okay, and so basically your hand, if you get a ruler, okay. You measure from the center of your palm up, and it's 4 inches and something. Okay, so it's usually going up in 1/8 or 1/16, etc., etc. So you will have a system where you have L0, right? Or the L stands for light. Okay, the L stands for light.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you used to have SL for. And so on, and then you will see a number 4 and 1/8, 4, and so on. So you have L1, sorry, L0, L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. They're the big ones. Okay, they're the main ones. The 0 stands for 4 and no eighths. So in other words, the distance is 4 and 0/8. If it's an L1, it's 4 and 1/8. 4 and 1/4 is for an L2.
Yeah.
4 and 3/8 is an L3. 4 and 1/2 is an L4, and then 4 and 5/8 is an L5. Okay. Now, I could go very, very technical on it and bore the living daylights out of everybody in this room except for me. Okay. Well, I'll be getting very excited, but no. But we measure grips, and if you want to do this as well, I don't know whether or not we can do this so we can see it in the camera. Okay, so the way we measure a grip and whether or not a grip is suitable, if I use Steve here, okay, you should be able to slip your index finger into the gap between your middle finger and the thumb. Okay, if you hold it a bit tighter, right? Thank you. If you can't get your finger in there like that, then the grip is too small. If it's a lot wider and you can get like 12 fingers in, then your grip is too big. Okay? Now, take it, you put it down now. Now, the problem is that it is very much personal choice. I choose personally to have an L4. I get an L3 and I put an overgrip on so it becomes like an L4. That's still probably too small for me, but it's actually the way the feeling I like. Now, what you have to understand, and this is now where it becomes really important, okay, for all those people out there who may have serious injuries in tennis, one thing that you have to look for is the size of the grip. If the grip is too small, then you will need to grab the racket tighter than you should have to. Okay? When we hold a racket as we're hitting a ball, it should feel secure but not tight. Stephen should be able to take this racket off me, and I'm holding the racket like this, which I'm sure you can if you want. Yeah, there you go, thank you. Now, too many people, when they're holding the racket, grip like this, and then you can't remove it. That creates a lot of stress and a lot of tension on your ligaments, and then when you're making contact with the ball, it's even more stressful. So holding a racket that is too small a grip, you have to hold it a lot tighter, thus injuries can be caused. Okay? If the grip is too big, same theory. The difference is that when the grip is too big, your range of movement changes as well. So for example, when you're looking to pronate, or for the idiots out there who think that it's wrist snap.
I don't even like the word pronate.
No, it's pronate, you know it is. So when you're looking to pronate, when you've got too big a grip that even the pronation is affected, and you tend to actually move to a forehand grip. Panhandle grip. So it's like that happens, okay? So that's affected, and again, you're holding the racket too tight because it's too big for you. When you buy a racket, it is absolutely crucial, especially for children, to get the right size grip. So if you're a child, say I'm a 10-year-old.
I was going to say, what kind of age do grips become relevant?
Well, when you're moving from a junior racket, because junior rackets only come in L0 or L00 and 000. Okay? So if you're a junior and you're moving to a senior racket, 99.9% of the time you should be looking for an L0, at most an L1. Okay? The reason why you want an L0 is then you actually have the opportunity to place an overgrip on it, and it's the overgrip so you should be changing as much as possible. Okay? But you put an overgrip on, it increases the size of the grip. So if you have an L1 and you put an overgrip on it, it's almost going to be an L2. Certain overgrips have a lot thicker feeling. You know, the Wilson perforated, for example, is very, very thin. That doesn't increase anything.
No.
But then it lasts about 3 seconds. Okay? So a pro overgrip, a general pro overgrip, takes the grip up one notch. Okay? So if you're 10, 11, 12, L2 absolute maximum, but then even an L2 you probably will find that you couldn't put an overgrip on it, it'll get too thick. Okay? If you're a lady, okay, I would always go L1, L2 max. Again, you know, unless you're a very tall lady like me, but not a lady.
That's only on a Saturday night.
On a Saturday night, yeah. If you're a tall lady, then you might have big hands, and like I have. I mean, Steve and I have got what's your?
I'm not putting my hand up against yours. Look at that.
Look at his little baby, little wuss hands. Okay, but if you've got big hands, then you obviously would go up. Okay, but the rule of thumb is that you do not get a big grip because you can't take it down. Racket grips used to be made of wood, so you could actually file it, shave it. Now they're actually made of plastic 99.9% of the time, so you can't really take it down. You can build grips up, you can buy the plastic sleeves and with the hair dryers and stuff like that, but it's not ideal. But please, 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 I beg everybody out there, when you're buying and when you're making a purchase for rackets, don't ask the guys in the shops most of the time. Certainly don't go in the chains and ask them.
Yeah. Okay?
Buy rackets from specialists, okay? You know, something I want to try and do here, as you know, and Strung Too Tight hopefully will set the stall for this, is actually have a professional guidelines for these kind of things. Because think about it logically. You know, you could go to, let's just say I'm a 12-year-old boy, a 10-year-old boy, 11-year-old boy or girl, and I've got shoulder injury. Okay? The doctor is not going to turn around to you and say, your racket grip is too big or too small and you've got to do this and that. He's going to say, oh, it's rotator cuff injury, of course from your tennis, it's probably this, it's probably that. And the diagnosis might be wrong, okay?
I think that's sometimes the same with coaching. Normally when people have a little injury, 90% of the coaches will just try and change the technique or adapt the technique, and they won't look at the instrument that you're using. So, don't always think about changing the technique.
Yeah, there are so many little bits that you have to be aware of, okay? And that is that the string could be a very stiff string. It could be too stiff for you. We talked about that a while back. The racket might be too stiff and not flexible enough for you. It might be too flexible. The grip might be too big, the grip might be too small. The racket tension might be too tight, it could be too loose. There are so many different factors that aren't even technique related. Whenever I've always dealt with people, they've come to me and they've said, oh, I need to change my backhand because I'm getting tennis elbow. And you watch the shot and you think, really? It's got nothing to do with that. But then some doctor or some plank who doesn't know anything about these kind of things, and we all know millions of these, they will come up with the wrong theories, etc., etc. Okay? Please, when you're making these decisions, these are not cheap rackets. I mean, well, that one is. But these are not cheap rackets, and you want to make sure you make the right call. If you're in the UAE, or if you want to ask for my opinion and help, then I'm more than happy to assist. I think I've got a pretty good record in terms of that.
Gosh, what is it? 10,000 kids.
Yeah, I think I've
given your knowledge to.
More than that, probably.
Well, like I say, Paul is the only master racket technician in the UAE, so you find me somebody better qualified who knows more than him, which is loads of. No, I'm joking. No, but he really is the master. I use him all of the time, and I'm pretty sure any coach who knows him is always asking for advice, and he'll always give it to you as well. So
I think also, it goes without saying that there's a reason why Jules speaks to me as well when it comes to
we haven't even spoken about the professional players who use Paul's knowledge and expertise on racket-related things,
which most of you find very, very boring. Anyway, look.
I think it's interesting, and I think it's an exciting. It's not even just for players or people who are tennis fans, but even for coaches. Actually, don't just think about the technique. This annoys me more than anything. You've got to, oh, my elbow hurts, and the kids use an RPM blast that's 59 pounds, and it's like, right, change his forehand, and then the coaches are giving the wrong information to parents or children or whatever. So coaches need to listen to Paul as well.
And Steve, I give an example, usually a negative example, but there was a really big positive example last week. Alicia and I went shopping, and we went into a certain shop, which I shouldn't name, but I will because the service that they were getting was fantastic. It was the Nick trading the Wilson store in the outlet mall. Yeah. And a guy came in and he said, I want the best racket. And I sort of was just there and thinking, let's see, go on, let's see. Usually, if you go into a mainstream store that sells rackets, they're going to just turn around and think, most expensive racket, boom. This guy, forgot his name, I feel so wrong, I'll get his name, I need to get his name because he was great. He was like, sir, there's no such thing as a best racket. It's personal choice. Which is the most expensive?
Oh my God, was that the question?
Yeah. And then even I was just about to harp up and say something, and the guy goes, no, sir, probably the most expensive would be inappropriate because you'd be looking at a professional racket or a development racket, which would be more for people who need power, etc., etc. So I'm like this with a big smile on my face thinking, good on you. Now, he may have been doing it because he knows me and he knows what I'm like. But he actually got professional advice, and it was really, really, it was lovely to see, and I'm credit where credit's due.
Didn't you have one in Decathlon?
I had an incident in Decathlon. And they're usually quite good, but no, the worst incident I've had was in Go Sports, actually. And
are we allowed to name them?
Well, I'm not going to. Actually, the worst incident I had was when the guy strung with my string in Sun and Sand, if you remember. So.
What was that one?
That was before. I think when you and I were dating, weren't we, honey? But
anyway. Probably was to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't call you honey. So yeah, there we go, guys. Just quickly going to mention that my very good friend, Mr. Gregory Howe, has created a book. It's called Chasing Points. But I think it's going to be a fascinating insight to. I mean, he went to some very strange and deep and dark places to try and get some points for the ATP Tour. He was desperate to become a pro, and he spent a year. He took a year out from work. I think maybe 2 years out from work, and he's written a book. So Google Gregory Howe. Great guy. He's a really nice guy. Great tennis player as well.
I think it's be a good insight to actually how tough it is out there. It's not all sunshine and luxury traveling with friends. It's a tough journey by yourself most of the time.
Cockroach infested rooms.
No AC. Playing where you need to have jabs before you go into the country, and
dodgy food.
It's a very real book. You get a lot of tennis books which I've read, and I don't think they paint the true picture. Whereas this one is, it's honest, it's from the heart. So I think, great read.
It's out on Amazon, I believe, this week. Anyone who's looking to just have a bit of a nice read, Greg's a great guy, as I mentioned. So I wish you all the best, Gregory Howe, for that. I'll certainly be reading it, and so will you.
I'll be reading.
Right, I think we're done for today, Steve. I think we've covered enough. Thanks so much. Please comment. We're going a lot more live on Instagram. He says, I say. And also we're going to do a live feed on Facebook as well. I don't know when we're going to do that one, but so thank you very much for paying any attention to what we talk about. Right, guys. Good luck to everybody who's playing over the next week. Take care.
Bye.